Anathema are a progressive rock band from Liverpool, England. Since forming in the 90s, they've become one of the UK's most cherished rock bands. They are currently touring the country, playing some acoustic shows, about to release a live album and DVD entitled A Sort of Homecoming, due out October 30th via K-Scope Records. Vincent, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
So how's the tour been for you so far?
So far it's great. We went to New Zealand for the first time. Started off there, and a couple of great gigs over there. It was fantastic to go. We went to Adelaide shortly afterwards, and Adelaide was again an amazing place. So already I've seen quite a bit of this part of the world that we've never seen before. And we're back now in the familiar surroundings of Brisbane, where we got some old friends and so on. And we're on to Sydney and Melbourne and Perth. So I don't know. On this time out, especially, I'm enjoying it so much more than last time. I don't even know why that is. I'm just really happy to be back. I really like this part of the world. It's great.
Awesome. So now that you're doing acoustic shows, from a musician's point of view, does your approach change to how you perform in an acoustic show from a regular show?
Yeah, a regular show is obviously with the full band as two drummers and full-on rock stage setup. But we've got at this point it's more about really the songwriting as well, because some of the songs themselves have to be adapted to the way we play this, because a lot of it is based around these looper pedals. So Danny's actually physically hitting the rhythm into the acoustic guitar, and then putting a bass line in, and then coming in with the riffs over the top, and my guitar is more kind of ambient, like kind of handling some of the atmospherics and the keyboards and that kind of thing. So it's very different to what we usually do. So it means that your songs change, and sometimes there's a little bit of improvisation, and sometimes you can extend a certain section of a song that you wouldn't normally, or sometimes you could just find yourself playing a completely new piece or a completely different riff out of nowhere. And so it's really kind of, it's rewarding musically, really, from that perspective, because it keeps it exciting for the band, rather than having everything sounding the same every single night. It's actually got a bit more scope for a bit more elbow room, you could say.
Cool. So what can fans in Australia and New Zealand expect from your acoustic shows?
Well, the stand-up acoustic shows, we're not sat there on these bar stools, having a big relaxed affair. It's nothing really like that. It's quite rock and roll, actually, and there's quite a bit of audience interaction as well. We do have quite a lot of banter with the audience, which is funny, because it's just one of those things. There seems like there's less of that kind of fourth wall. When you're playing a big rock show, I don't know. It's a bit more of these big kind of occasions, and the acoustic thing is just, it's way more laid back and intimate. You can just I don't know. It feels more relaxed. It feels like you can get away with more. There's certain things that I'll say to the crowd in these gigs that I probably wouldn't occur to me in a normal show. So I like that aspect of it, really. I think it's cool.
Cool. So you're releasing a live album called A Sort of Homecoming, which was recorded in this massive cathedral in Liverpool. Being from Liverpool, what's it like playing there? Because I got to take a glimpse of what it looked like, and it looked fantastic. Yeah,
to anyone who's ever been to Liverpool and seen this cathedral, they'll get a sense of scale for it. It's enormous. It's one of those things. I mean, even though it's big from the outside, it feels even bigger from the inside as well. It's the biggest cathedral in the country, and for it to be in Liverpool as well. I mean, we never even knew that the cathedral actually staged any concert at all, and all of a sudden we had this opportunity, and instantly we wanted to record it, film it for a live release. So for us as well, it's a bit of acknowledgement from your hometown, really. Liverpool's got a famous tradition of music, obviously going back to the Beatles and so on.
Yeah.
And in the 80s and 90s with bands like the Lars and the Coral and the Zootons and later on and things like this. But you've a lot of that scene. There was a lot of bands, even though they kind of knew each other because everybody used to rehearse in the same places. And quite a few of the bands sounded the same as well. So there was a bit of an I don't know. There was very much a Liverpool scene going on, and Anathema were never really part of that. Anathema were always kind of the outsiders. We were always that band who, we'd meet these guys in other bands, and they'd come over to us and they'd say, "Aren't you like really massive in places like South America and and across Europe and things?" And we go, "Well, yeah, we do. Yeah, we do all right, And it's like, "Well, how do you do that?" And I'm saying, "Well, I don't know how you get on Glastonbury every year, So it kind of goes both ways, But it's so we were astounded, really, and I'm really pleasantly surprised that, as soon as the tickets went on sale, 1,000, they sold out in the first weekend. So it just went to show that actually in Liverpool we are kind of, even though we're not really part of that whole scene in the media, we're still very much respected on the ground, And there's so yeah, that's important to me, because I've got huge respect for Liverpool, for the place I come from. I haven't lived there for 10 years, but the chance to play this concert in that place like that was just was a bit of a milestone, you could say, really.
Could you say that filming the live concert in Liverpool was sort of, it being your hometown, was that the inspiration for filming it there? Yeah,
it was also because of the building itself as well, because the building's so impressive. But the very fact that it was in Liverpool. So yeah, if that building was in London or somewhere, would we have made the film? Possibly not, that you could be right there, I think it was just the culmination of all of those things that made it the perfect location to do it.
Cool. I'm sorry, I may get the director's name wrong. Is it Lasse Hoyle?
Yeah, Lasse. He's from Denmark. Yeah, I used to call him Lassie as well. I don't think that's very good.
Yeah, so he captured the performance in Liverpool, and he's obviously worked with other people like Stephen Wilson as well. So and I believe you've worked with him before, so how do you guys initially meet and know each other in the first place and come together and start working on projects with each other?
With Lasse, I first met Lasse we were supporting Porcupine Tree, and at that point he'd done a couple of videos for those guys, and he also did some of the live visuals and things, and he turned up at a show in Denmark, and we got talking, and it turned out we liked similar things, similar kinds of video art and that kind of thing, and he's a really great guy. Really down to earth, really artistic, and he's a real artist. Really, he's not just a filmmaker, director, that kind of guy. He's a real artist. If you know any of the stuff he did for PT or Stephen Wilson, you can recognise that. But it was genuinely through Stephen really that we got to know him.
Cool. As I mentioned in the intro, Sort of Homecoming is coming out via K-Scope Records. K-Scope has a pretty impressive roster. What's it like being on that label with the likes of Stephen Wilson, Porcupine Tree, and Tesseract?
Yeah, it's part of a family now of bands that that I really respect. I used to, going back to the 90s, I used to kind of look around for cool labels, not labels necessarily that I wanted to be on, but stuff that I wanted to discover. So, for example, when I first got into Aphex Twin, I was about 17 years old or something, and I bought his records on Warp. Warp Records, I dug a bit into that, and then I discovered, Boards of Canada and Autechre and Square Pusher and Plaid and then later on people like Gravenhurst and Pivot, actually, and the Australian band Pivot, who were really like. And the similar thing with Constellation Records in Montreal with, Godspeed You Black Emperor and Devil Mount Zion and Frankie Sparrow and Fly Pan Am and so on and so on. And the same goes for, Ninja Tune and Fat Cat and, Yeah, and there's some great electronic labels out there as well, like Ghostly and so on. And I Type records are really good. Just kind of, it's a great way to discover other bands that may be similar to what you're into. And K-Scope is kind of one of those labels now, and I think it's been building up its roster for the last few years, and everybody that they add to the roster is just a brilliant addition, and increases their already cool profile. And the latest guys they've got is Tesseract. It's a real coup for the label, and there's, I could go on and on and on about the other bands on there. There's there's Ulver, there's of course North Atlantic Oscillation, who I really love, and on and on. Blackfield, of course, it's such a cool place to be.
Awesome. Last question. When can we expect another Anathema studio album?
Well, it's too early to say, really. We're still finishing off this touring cycle right now. There's a lot of discussion between myself and Danny about what we've got and what we want to do. We've got a rough idea. Danny's having a little bit of, he's kind of asking himself a lot of questions at this point in time. Saying, okay, what's it going to be? I'm not really sure. I don't really know. I'm more confident, you see. I'm more confident. I'm saying, okay, it's going to be good. There's going to be a lot more writing from now until until we go into the studio. So don't worry about it. It's going to be great. And so I'm really confident going forward. I'm looking forward to getting into the studio next time, but we're in no rush, really. I think it's always important to get it right, So we shall see, but rest assured that we will be working hard.
Thank you for your time, Vincent.
You're welcome.
Hope you enjoy your time in Australia, and wish you the rest of the luck for the rest of the year touring.
Okay, thanks a lot, man. All the best. Good to talk to you. Hi, this is Vincent from Anathema. You're listening to The Mosh Pit on Sin.